How do you feel now that the album has been out for a few days?
Um, Feeling good, still feeling like, all the support coming in is really nice. Um, yeah, I feel like, I don't know, something that we were looking forward to for so long. It was like such a big kind of goal. And now it's been a few days. I'm like already thinking about the next thing, to be honest,
Hell yeah.
which is more luge stuff. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of put the album out and we are like, oh, sweet. Now because there was so much stuff to do and it was like a moment of relief, like particularly on the night of the release show. And then it was like, oh yeah, we got to figure out all that stuff with tour. So it's kind of just
Right.
like, all right, back
Yeah.
to it then.
Yeah, no time to rest, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, on the first few listens of this album, it seems a bit more bass driven to me than previous releases. And I was wondering if this is a product of your songwriting process. Like, is the bass generally the first layer of foundation when you're writing these songs?
This time, I mean, usually no. It varies a lot, but there were a couple songs that were more um like initiated by the bassist Cam uh this time than most. But I think there was also more of uh um trying to like declutter my guitar parts. Was probably more responsible for that, like trying to do more you know accentuating stuff instead of playing a bunch of notes all the time.
Mm,
Uh, so I think that kind of like opened it up and led to the bass and drums sort of driving a lot of parts a lot more. I definitely have more time on this album where I'm not playing guitar than all the other ones, I would say.
yeah. No, I've seen you play live before, and like you both or all of you seem to hit every note and play every part like without having backing tracks or anything. And like when recording the album, did you specifically make it as an album to be played live?
Um, I don't think we went in like with that intention, but I think we always have um I guess we intend to play everything live. Like we've never written anything that's like requires requires something extra. I mean, that couldn't be done live.
Mhm.
Even though like some of these songs are really hard to play
Yeah.
live. And we probably like won't keep playing some of them live because it's so difficult.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like some of them Tobias had like written on a computer first, and then we kind of took it from there and adapted it to something that is playable.
Oh, wow.
Um,
I've
yeah.
never heard of anyone doing it that way before. That's really interesting. Have you ever like
Yeah.
written anything that's just like way too complicated that you have to scrap because you can't play it live?
Um, I mean, like, no, because everybody's really good. Like, but the last song on this new album, Spoon Feeding, Crab Walking, it definitely is like probably the hardest Luge song so far, I think. Um,
Uh,
it's
Yeah.
really it's got a lot of parts that are just really tough for like pretty much everyone but me. My parts always so seem to end up the easiest. which is, mean because I write it. I wrote that song, so it feels bad when everyone else is like, "Well, this is impossible," and I'm like, "Yeah, my
Oh,
part."
Tobias, you're freezing up.
It's really they're right next to each other. It's really easy. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, everybody else in the band is quite a bit better at their instruments than I am. Um, but I usually I write more stuff than everybody.
Mhm.
So a lot of the time I'm like writing stuff and I'm like, yeah, they can do this because I can do it. And they're better. And but then sometimes it you know, it is a real challenge. Um,
But you're kind of like the teller of if you can play the songs or not.
yeah, I'm like I could do that with a lot of time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
they'll be able to
mean,
do it.
there's been songs like that before that we were like, how are we ever going to play this live? Like Sharing from, was that the last album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the self-titled? Like, we didn't think we would ever play that
Right.
live, but now it seems pretty easy. So we should just probably practice more. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like they're
Yeah.
easy songs to learn though.
Yeah.
Um, what
No,
what
but it's also
inspired? Oh, sorry. You can. What were you saying?
yeah, I was just gonna say it's also like it's usually it's not like usually the songs aren't overly difficult in sort of a like physical way, but more in like a conceptual way, right? Like it's not like, oh, I can't play that fast. It's just like it's really hard to get into that rhythm because it's so weird. Like the song I Can't Hear You What, that opening section is it's not so bad for me and it's not so bad for Cam, the bassist, but Stu has to hit the shots that both Cam and I are playing that are different from each other. So like his part is essentially twice as hard as our parts and then also has another layer. So it's like three times as hard. And but it's not like uh you know it's not like so fast that he can't play it. It's just confusing and hard to remember. And so, if you spend enough time with it, like we'll get it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Um, what inspired you to use auto tune on this record? I thought that was an interesting choice. And yeah, why did you use it where you did? Like, does it
Hmm.
represent some sort of alter ego for the narrative of the album, or am I reading too far
Hmm.
into it?
Um, I haven't thought about it too much. I guess it's just like an aesthetic that we hadn't ever used before, and it felt like a good moment to use it. Um, as well, like trying to use it a few times over the album. So it's not like totally random. Um, yeah, I don't know. Tobias, do you have any thoughts?
Well, you also, I mean, I don't know that we've used it on like a proper release. We did. I know you used it on the cat dog
Oh
cover
yeah, that's a good
that we.
point.
So
We did like a
yeah.
remix cover of our friends
Oh,
song. They're called Cat Dog. Um like pretty close to when we were actually recording our album, so that might have had
Yeah.
an influence on me. Um
And
yeah.
and you used to use it live on Zalimage
Really?
at the beginning when you were like yelling at the beginning.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's
I forgot
there's
about
been
that.
like It's definitely
I'm sure
something
you're
that
right.
like has come up. I remember I think it is on the live recording that we did
Right.
that one at Bike Pirates.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think it has actually. I heard that and I was like, no, we've done that before, but I don't think we have done it on like, but
Oh,
it just sort of we've used it on like atonal parts
right. Yeah.
before.
I remember
Yeah.
hearing like some sort of auto tune on your last album, but I forget where or when.
I have a terrible
Yeah.
memory. I don't know. What did we do? I don't know.
I'm thinking also we did it on Tower of Field, or we didn't use autotune on Tower of Fields, but we did some like processing thing where there's a double that was all one note, which
Right.
like I mean it pitch corrected that version, but it wasn't exactly autotune. But yeah, I feel like I don't know the we the vocal processing is like one of the last things that we do when we're recording,
Sorry,
and
you cut out for
I
a
don't
sec
know it's
there.
pretty.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I was just saying like vocal processing is like the last thing we do when we're recording. Um, so I don't know, like we kind of just like one takes everything, so we have a lot of time to play around with that in the studio because they're just like, yeah, okay, that was good. Should
Sweet.
we should we do anything with it? Should we put auto tune on it? Um, yeah, there was definitely some places where we used it where it was like a weird scale, and we had to figure out some workarounds for that.
Right. Yeah, definitely a vibe that I got from the album is that y'all were having a lot of fun. So that definitely shows through. Um, and yeah, lyrics wise, when I listen to this album for at least as many times as I have listened to it, the lyrics seem pretty abstract, and also sort of relatable in strange ways.
Hmm.
But how do you sort of intend for listeners to connect with the lyrics on the album?
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, funnily enough, like I feel like the lyrics on this album are definitely the most relatable, least abstract and like absurd. Um, I feel like the process of writing lyrics for me is always like listening to the music first. I almost never write a lyric before writing, the melody or the hook or whatever. Um, and then I kind of just find the words to add on to that. And also I've come to be less afraid of like being cliche, which makes it a little more relatable, I think.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I think that's a big fear for a lot of people who write stuff. It's like, I don't want to be cliche, and it's so easy
Yeah.
to do that. So yeah, and it's a little bit more like, I guess, drawing on actual memories and my own life and stuff. Even though it's still pretty abstract, but
Mm.
there's a bit more truth in this set of lyrics, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Um, yeah. I have a pretty hard time defining the sound of this record and your band in general. How would you sort of address the genre question?
That's literally so hard. And I feel like every time, we read anyone who's written up, okay, luge is this, luge is that, it's so difficult. And it's always different. And I love seeing all the different stuff that people come up with. I don't know. I usually say like art something, art rock,
Yeah.
art something. That kind of captures
Sounds
it a
pretty
little
good.
bit. Yeah.
Or like a
Yeah.
fusion punk band.
Hmm.
Student punk. Cool. What does it mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Are there any new musical or lyrical influences you had going into this record?
Hmm. Biased. I need some time to think.
Um, huh. I mean, we played with this band, Otoboke Beaver, in Toronto a few months back, and there was definitely like I wanted to do like some faster punk stuff because of that. Um, so like the end of I Can't Hear You What, even though it came out like a bit darker,
Oh.
I was just listening to a lot of them and I wanted to do something and I couldn't out again on my internet. Um, yeah, I wanted to do something like more upbeat and but also this a lot of these songs have been written over like a really long period of time. So it's varied a lot. Like the beginning of that song was written like years before the ending of it. And when I wrote the beginning of it, I was listening to a lot of these like French bands, Ni and PinioL, and they also have a band that's just both of those bands together called PinioL, and that's why that part sounds like that because I just wanted to make like the most mathematical grid French metal shit. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think like
Oh, I have one.
yeah.
That song, Toujours Amour. Do you know that song?
Yeah.
It's like it's just yeah, it's like
Yeah.
Euro club music. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a new one for us, but
Yeah.
definitely a direct inspiration.
At the end of the title track,
Yeah.
shit sounded like or like tattoo,
Mm, yeah.
a little bit of that man. Uh
Cool. I'll have to check out these bands. I don't know them, unfortunately.
I was
Um,
also been listening to a lot of metal and I think that showed up in a lot of places this time. Which it like always shows up, but there's a lot of it.
right. Yeah, I can definitely hear that. Um, and something you didn't do on the last record, but another interesting observation was the songs with it's Latvian lyrics. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, why did you decide to return to this, like
Mm,
writing songs in Latvian? What mean?
yeah. Um, I mean, I just find it fun. And again, like I guess there's a couple of reasons. Like one is again the process of like listening to the song and kind of hearing a vocal part that then kind of inspires the lyrics. So I guess whatever it is about those songs, like I heard Latvian first, or more so. And also I spent a lot more time in Latvia over the last couple of years, just like visiting and stuff. Um, so that I think that's probably the real reason. It's just actually spending more time there than in uh, during the pandemic and everything. um, and speaking the language more because of being there, uh, made it come to the forefront a bit more.
Are there any Latvian words that you found were just a bit more expressive than saying the same thing in English?
Mm, that's a good question. I think there's a lot of them, like um the word samejģīts, which is in I use in katru um means like kind of twisted up, or yeah, like if you get a twisted ankle, you would say samejģīts. And I feel like that sounds, you know, that sounds like what it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
There's also like built-in diminutives, like on like
Mm,
Zalumain, which is an older song, and that's like, isn't that like a little? It's like a little shrub.
it's like a
It's not just like,
little greenery. Yeah.
yeah, but it's not like, you know, we don't have a word for like a little greenery. We just say like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I just said that.
Yeah.
I feel like those words are the best when you have like, you can like make a little stinker out of any word
mm,
in
Yes.
Latvian.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
I tried translating some of the lyrics and I couldn't tell if the translation was really messed up or if the the lyrics are just that crazy.
I feel like the translation is probably messed up. I don't think the lyrics are that crazy. Uh,
Yeah, just obscure. I've
oh.
seen. Yeah. But yeah, if there's one message you want listeners to take away from this album, what would it be?
Um,
Sorry, it's a tough one.
that's no, that's good. I don't know. I think it's like having fun, just being young, you know? That's my one. Um, yeah, I think it's been like a really rough few years. Um, and it's just kind of trying to kind of rise above that
Mhm.
and still enjoy stuff no matter where you are, I guess.
Sweet.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's great. That's such a positive message.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tobias,
we spent
what's
the
yours? Uh-oh.
Oh
I
no.
screwed him
I
over.
agree generally
I
along
screwed him up.
Songwriting.
Wait, you froze, do it again.
Along the same lines, we spent a lot of, again, why?
I think so. Maybe turn your camera off.
Yeah,
May
that
Okay.
help. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I was going to say when we were writing this one, there was a lot more like messing around and messing with each other than some other times. You know, like we weren't being super serious about it because it's just more of a fun one. Uh, which it's usually like pretty fun, but I think that I don't know. There's a lot there's a lot more times where we like played our instruments in a stupid way than like playing a real part. We were trying to get gestural with it, dropping a little bit of, you know, professionalism and respectability to just sound more crazy.
Because that's what we're known for.
yeah.
Professionalism and
Yes,
respectability.
professionalism.
Exactly why people love you.
Yeah.
All right. That's about it for me. Is there anything else you want to include or?
Um, I feel like I got everything out that I needed to. I guess just like plugging. We're gonna go on tour in November. West Coast, Canada and the US to be announced very soon.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that's the next thing we're really looking forward to.
I
Awesome.
wanted to sh I wanted to shout out one more inspiration, which is Sexual Jeremy,
Mm,
who we played with in Dallas, and they're just gnarly. And there was definitely a bunch of parts where I was like, "Oh, let's do like a sexy Jerry part." Um, and we didn't know about them on the last album, so it counts as new. Uh,
cool.
just that sexy Jerry.
Cool. Um, well, yeah, thanks so much for meeting with me. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, it was
Thanks a
awesome.
lot. Hell yeah.
Oh
Very
yeah,
nice to meet you.
you too. Have a
Yeah,
wonderful
All right.
evening.
See you.
I'm waving, but I turned my camera off.
Oh yeah.